TypeScript, TypeScript object-oriented programming, we learned about contracts. I'm giving summary. Contracts are nothing but interfaces. We learned about templates. Templates are nothing but abstract classes. And we have polymorphism. Polymorphism that is done by using class inheritance. Class inheritance and creating object with multiple behaviors. Behavior that is what actually we call as polymorphism. Yesterday we discussed that. So we have contracts, we have templates, and polymorphism. These are the basic things in object-oriented programming. Now, after understanding the polymorphism, inheritance is same. Already we discussed inheritance. It is same as in JavaScript. No change in the inheritance, but only one point I will tell you. Inheritance means I told you the difference. What is the difference between what we have? Implements and extents. What is the difference between implements and extents? So we discussed this point, difference between implements and extents. Remember what are implemented, what are extended? Contracts are implemented. Contracts are implemented, and the classes are extended. Templates are extended. Templates are extended. We can extend contracts also. Can we extend contract? Already we learned now. Interface can be extended, right? We can extend contract also. We can extend contracts and we can implement contracts. A contract can extend another contract, right? Another question, basically it's a very general question. Can we create an object for template? Can we create an object for template? No, we cannot create an object for template. Template means abstract class. We cannot create an object for template because it is incomplete. That means it is abstract. Abstract means it is incomplete, right? So that is the reason we cannot create an object for a template, right? These questions are very common. One more question is regularly asked in OOP. That is why multiple inheritance is not supported for classes, but supported for interface. Why multiple inheritance is not supported for classes but supported for interface? This is one question. Because while learning about interface, we saw that interface supports multiple inheritance, but classes will not support multiple inheritance. What is the reason? What is the reason why classes will not support multiple inheritance? Generally, many people give the answer about ambiguity. Ambiguity. What is ambiguity? Means many times people have an answer that ambiguity or ambiquence. What is ambiquence means? Hmm? Yes. Uh, The ambiguity. What is meant by that? Same method from two classes. Yeah. Actually, uh, technically, it is not ambiguity. Generally, ambiguity is a learning level point, ambiguity. But in architectural concept point of view, for experienced people, the answer is because of constructor deadlock. Because of constructor deadlock. So multiple inheritance is not supported for classes because of constructor deadlock. So this is the correct technical answer actually. Ambiguity is, many people say that if same name methods are there in two classes, then ambiguity issue will come. If not there, it is possible. If same name methods are not there, then it is possible. Then how you tell that as a problem? If same name methods are not there, then there is no problem. That means that is not the correct point, right? The correct point is constructor deadlock. Constructor deadlock means, I will tell you a simple point. See, constructor deadlock is nothing but actually, suppose we have super 1, super 2, super 3. Yesterday we learned one rule about inheritance. So every class have a constructor, am I right? So every class have a constructor. Now we are creating a derived class, and derived class is also having a constructor. As per the rules, I already told you. What is the rule about classes? So if derived class is implementing, if it is implementing super 1, super 2, and super 3, as per the rules of object oriented programming, I told you one point, derived class must have a super call, am I right? Yesterday we discussed one rule, derived class constructor must have a super call. That means it will call the superclass constructor. When it call the superclass constructor, which superclass constructor will load? All three are superclasses only. There is no priority that first one is super 1, second one is super 2. All are superclasses. Then which superclass constructor will load? Actually, what happens is we have memory, and in that memory, generally what happens is this super 1 constructor is waiting for super 2 constructor. This super 2 constructor is waiting for super 1 constructor. And all constructors are waiting for each other. No constructor is going into the memory. All are waiting for each other. If all are waiting for each other and no one is going into the memory because all are super constructors only, then this mechanism is called deadlock. I hope you heard this in multi-threading. Huh? In multi-threading, you have a situation called deadlock. Deadlock means all tasks are waiting for each other. No task is started. This mechanism is called as deadlock. So because superclass constructor is mandatory to call from derived class, but derived class is trying to call superclass, but all superclass constructors are waiting for each other. This is called constructor deadlock, and no constructor will load. Now you can clearly relate why multiple inheritance is supported for interface. Why it is supported for interface? Because interface will not have a constructor. Interface don't have a constructor. Interface don't have a constructor. So what do you think? Interface will not have two same name methods, huh? Interfaces also may have same name methods. Then ambiguity is there in interface also. Am I right? So ambiguity or ambiguance is not an point about multiple inheritance. The point is about constructor. Why multiple inheritance is not supported in object-oriented programming for classes and it is supported for interface? Because of constructor. Classes will have constructor which leads to constructor deadlock. Interface don't have constructor, so no deadlock. So interface will support multiple inheritance. Classes will not support multiple inheritance because classes leads to constructor deadlock and interface will not have a deadlock. That is the reason why multiple inheritance is not supported for classes, but it is supported for interface. That is one important point, right? So technically we have classes, interfaces, abstract
Recording
classes.
stopped. Recording in progress.
So classes, abstract classes, and all types of members in the class. So these are very regularly asked questions in interviews, right? So related to TypeScript, what is difference between implements and extends? So can we extend a contract? Can we create an object for template? So why multiple inheritance is not supported for class, but it is supported for interface, right? These are all the basic object-oriented programming concepts, right? Next important in TypeScript, while learning about TypeScript, you have to know about very major concept, that is modules. Classes, contracts, templates, and very important is modules. This is very major concept. What is a module and how the modules work, we will see. Actually, modules are there in JavaScript also. If you have learned JavaScript OOP concepts, we have modules in JavaScript also. Here also same. Modules are same in both JavaScript and TypeScript. Technically, what is a module? First important, you should know that module is a collection of variables, functions, contracts, templates, and components. Components are nothing but classes. A module is a collection of variables, functions, contracts, templates, and components. All are kept in a module. Everything is configured in a module. What is the purpose of module? The purpose of module is nothing but actually modules are used to build a library for application. Modules are used to build a library for application. We can build a library for application by using module. So what is the purpose of library? You can reuse the library, means you can reuse the functions, you can reuse the components templates, you can inject and use from any location. Actually, library allows to reuse the resources. A library allows to reuse the resources. So we can reuse the resources and we can build application by using library. In JavaScript based technologies, libraries are built by using modules. Libraries are built by using module. And very important is modules. Modules require a module system. A module system. In order to work with modules, you need a module system. Without module system, modules cannot work. And if you learned JavaScript, if anybody asked, tell me what module systems you know in JavaScript. Give me some examples of module systems. So actually, module systems are various types. Various types. Actually, we have module system called common JS is a module system. Require JS is a module system. UMD, it is a module system. Universal module distribution. We have AMD, that is a asynchronous module distribution. Asynchronous module distribution. This is AMD. These are different types of module systems. Any technology which is using JavaScript, even Angular is also using JavaScript, but not directly. Angular is using what? TypeScript. TypeScript is finally translated into JavaScript. So any JavaScript based technology have to use module system. Angular, React, Node.js, or any technology, Vue, Backbone, Knockout, any JavaScript based technology have to use module system because library is built by using module. We have to install these module systems actually. We have to install these module systems. Common JS, Require JS, UMD, AMD, these are different module systems we have to install. But already we installed Node.js. In our computer, we installed Node.js for a package manager called NPM. So by default, Node.js provides module systems called UMD. UMD is a module system, and CommonJS. CommonJS is also a module system. Actually, TypeScript uses a module system called CommonJS. When you install TypeScript on your PC, it will use CommonJS. Along with CommonJS, because you installed Node.js, you will also have a module system called UMD. Actually, any JavaScript library, for example, I will show you, suppose any technology where you can see the library clearly. Suppose this is React.js. It is a library. Angular is a framework. We can have a good idea when you see a library of JavaScript. React is a library, so we can clearly see here. So in this library, you see now, I will go here, docs. Yeah. You can see here CDN links are there. That means library links are there. When I go to library by using UMD. So here you can see it is provided by using UMD. The library is provided by using UMD. Mostly while working with JavaScript libraries, this module system is very important. UMD is the module system. Actually, TypeScript, TypeScript by default uses a module system called CommonJS. It uses a module system called CommonJS. It uses this module system called CommonJS. So you don't need to separately install anything. So you install TypeScript, it comes with CommonJS. For example, you see now, open our project. So this is our project, and you can see this is our project. And in this project, we installed two files. One is package.json, another one tsconfig. I already showed you how to generate tsconfig. Am I right? So when I go to tsconfig, you can see tsconfig TypeScript configuration. The target is ES 2018, that is JavaScript 8, ES 8. And you can see module CommonJS it is using. By default, TypeScript uses the module system called CommonJS. Different JavaScript based technologies use different module systems. So TypeScript comes with a module system called CommonJS. Of course, you also have UMD because you installed Node.js. UMD is also available for you, right? Now, what is a module? Module is nothing but it is a collection of that. I will go to the project. In the project, what I am doing here is, let's create a new folder. In our project, I am creating a new folder. And here, just for your understanding sake, I am separating everything. I am creating here, so as module system. I am creating as module system, or I am creating as modules, just modules. I'm using modules. You can see modules is a library. So, or here we can just put even better. Generally in projects, you will see library. Okay. I'm creating a library. Okay, fine. We kept a folder called library. Now in this library, we have to maintain all our contracts, all our templates, all our components separately so that we can use them. Up to now, till yesterday, we have designed everything in one file. We have a contract, we have a class, everything in one file. But now we will build a library, and library needs to be cleanly separated and reusable. Then see what we are doing. In this library, I will create a new folder. I will give the folder name contracts. Okay. I will add another folder, that is templates. I will add another folder, that is components. So we have three folders here. We have contracts, we have templates, and we have components. So let's go to contracts. Contracts means here we keep all the interfaces. So let's add a new file. In the contracts, we are adding a new file. I will give the name as product contract.ts. This is product contract.ts. Now, very important, this TS file, that means whatever the TS file you just created, this TS file is considered as a module. This TypeScript file is considered as a module. This is considered as a module. That means a JavaScript file or a TypeScript file are individually considered as a module. Now, in this module, you can have variables, you can have functions, you can have interfaces, you can have abstract classes, you can have classes. This is module actually. Every TypeScript file is considered as a module. Okay. Now, in this, what I am doing, I am creating an interface called product contract. That is an interface. In this, I am defining some rules. What are the rules? Some name, it is string type. Price, it is number type. Quantity, it is number type. Total, it is a method which returns a number. Print is a method which is void. These are the members. That means currently the contract is defined in a module. Now, very important is any member, defined in a module is accessible only to the current module. Any member defined in a module is accessible only to the current module. So here, if you want any member of a module to be accessed from another module, then you have to mark it as export. You have to mark it as export. That means here currently you can see you designed an interface. It is a contract, and the interface is present inside. It is present inside this module. It is not accessible outside now. It is accessible only inside this module. It is accessible only inside this file. It is not accessible outside the file. To make it accessible outside the file, you have to mark it as export. You have to mark as export. So several times for learners of JavaScript and TypeScript, this question is common. What is export? What is the purpose of the word export? Export is used in a module system to mark any member so that it can be exported out of the module. If you don't configure export, then it is not accessible outside. Even a function also. You write a function and you want to access outside, you have to mark it as export. So it is mandatory that you have to mark it as export if you want to use outside. Okay, fine. One more important point, that means syntactically, how do we define export interface and its name? We have to write export class and its name. We have to write export function and its name. Understood? That means interfaces are exported, classes are exported, and functions are exported. So anything that you defined in a module is accessible only within the module. If you want to access outside the module, then you have to mark it as export. That is the first point. Now, another important is every module can have one default export. Every module can have one default export. every module can have one default export. That means here you mentioned this export. Now in this module there can be another interface also, export interface, that is category contract. Two interfaces are there. That means one is product contract, another one category contract. This category contract is having category name. It is a string type. Just only one option is there. Now you have two contracts. You can maintain it in another file also if you want separate. So, but I am defining here. Now these two contracts can be accessed outside. But what you can do is, out of these two contracts, one contract you can mark it as default. One you can mark it as default. Any one. There can be only one default. Then what happens is, whenever this module is loaded into memory, this default module will be ready in the memory. Default module will be ready in the memory. No, you don't want any default. You will manually load the modules when required. Then no need to give default. That means sometimes when a module is loaded, one member I want default to get ready. Then what we do is we mark it as default. But it is not mandatory, right? If you don't want any default member, then you can just remove that. But every module can have only one default. Only one default. It can have only one default. This is important. That means now you can configure like this. You can define like this. So export default interface name, or you can define export default class name, or you can define export function name. You can define like this. But in one module there cannot be all of them. In one module there cannot be all of them. In one module you cannot have all of them. That means all of them as default. Only one. Only one. So what is export? Export allows to access outside. What is default? It marks as default so that it loads into memory when the module is loaded into memory. That is one important while working with module. Okay, one I marked as default, another one is not default. Okay, we have two contracts in a file. Product contract contains two contracts. One is product contract, another one category contract. Okay, now don't disturb this. All contracts keep at one place. Okay, now let's go to templates. Let's go to templates and design a template. So add a new file. The new file here, product template .ts. This is new file, product template.ts. Okay, what is a template? Template means abstract class. Already yesterday we discussed template is an abstract class. So we are creating export class abstract class and the class name is product template. We are configuring that. So export abstract and the class and template we are defining. This is not JS file, huh? It is a TS file. Okay, right? Yeah. So export abstract class product template, right? Okay, now why export? Already we know, because we need to access here. Now this template have to implement the contracts, but contracts are present in a separate module. Then how you can get the modules? That means the members of any module, the members of any module can be imported, can be imported, imported into the current module, into the current module. The members of any module can be imported into the current module. For that, syntactically, we write like this: import. And here we have to define the class or interface or function, anything, or template. Am I right? That means abstract class, anything. From we have to define the module name, from the module name. This is how we import. And remember, this curly brace is used for, remember, this curly brace is used for non-default members. It is used for non-default members. If a module contains any default member, then what we have to do is import class interface like this. That means this is actually class from, what is that? Module name. Module name. This you have to follow for default members. For default members, we need to follow this. That means if it is not default, that means if it is not default, then you use a curly brace. If it is default, then that is not required. The block is not required. So let's go here now. We have to import two contracts from this file. What are the contracts we have? Product contract and category contract, and product contract is default. Then you see now here, I am using import. Here I will define the product contract from the library. Where is the library? It is present outside. This is currently template folder. Come out of this folder, /. In that we have contracts. In the contracts we have product contract. Now it is showing an error because product contract is default. If it is default, you cannot put a curly brace. You have to remove this. Now it is ready. It is ready to use. Now there is another member which is not default. If any member is there which is not default, that you have to import, comma, but that is not a default member, then you have to use a curly brace. Here we have to import another contract. What is it? Category contract. That's how we do. All default members are defined directly because there can be only one default. So non-default members are defined in the curly brace. Okay, now we imported the contracts. This class must use that contract. So what we have to do? Implements. It implements which contract? One is product contract, comma, another one is category contract. A class can implement multiple contracts because classes don't have any constructors. Interface don't have any constructors. You can have multiple implementation. Now, according to that, we need to define what are the members. We have to implement all the members. What are the members? We have public. One is name. It is what type? String. Initially, it is empty, nothing defined. Another one, public. Another, price. It is number, and we initialize it to 0. Another one, public. This is quantity. It is a number, that is also 0. Another one is a category name. It is also empty because we are implementing two contracts. All the members are mandatory until or unless you mark them as optional, right? Now we have another method, total. So we are defining public. So total is the method, but this total method will return number, but it will be implemented later. Then we have to mark it as abstract. Now one more option is there. Another one is public. Another method is abstract method only. What is it? Print. It is what type? Void type. So these need to be implemented, total and print. Now your template is ready. Now template is ready, and this template is implementing two contracts, the product contract and the category. Make sure that this product template is also marked as what? Export, right? It has marked as export. So we have this export and template also ready. Now, how to extend the templates? How to implement the templates? To implement the templates, let's go to components now. So contract ready, template ready. Let's go to component and add a new file. There we are giving product component dot ts. In this product component, we are creating export class, and the class name is product component. What this product component have to do is implement the template. Whatever incomplete functionalities are there, configure them, right? So then how to import the template? We have to import template here because it is not here. Import. What is the template to import? Product template. It will import from that file. Because our Visual Studio Code have IntelliSense, automatically it will pop up with IntelliSense and it will get all the information. Otherwise you have to manually write, and already we saw manually // the folder name and all. So now product template is not marked as default, so you have to put that in a parenthesis. Now what this class product component have to do? It should extend the template. That means what we have to do? Extends which one? Product template. It extends product template. Then in that, what we are defining, name, I am configuring as a name is equal to some Samsung TV. We have price is equal to some price. We have some quantity. Quantity is equal to some quantity. And we have category name. Category name is equal to some electronics. Okay. Next, we have total. Total is a method. This total method have to return this dot quantity into this dot price. Now in this component, you don't need to define the structure, just you have to use the structure. And one more is print. What print have to do? It should print all the details. That means console.log, I am printing name is equal to this dot name. In the next line, price is equal to, so this dot price. In the next line, it is some quantity is equal to, so this dot quantity. And the next line, total is equal to this dot total. This dot total. And the category name, right? /n. So yeah, /n. Category name. Category is equal to this dot category name. All these details are printed. Now your component is ready. Now you can use this component in your application. This is the hierarchy of building a library. That means now applications are built by using components. We build an application by using component. Applications are built by using components. Components are derived from templates. Templates are derived from contracts. That is the hierarchy of building a library. You build a contract, The contract is implemented by templates. Templates are extended by components. Now it is ready. Let's go. Now we can use this in any application. This component we can use in any application. So what I am doing now, keep the library. We are using keep the library here. Right. So we are using the library here, and we want to use this library in our application. So in order to use this in application, I'm adding a new folder called app. I'm adding a new folder called app. In this app, I want to use this library. So let's go to the app and create a new file. I will give the file name index.ts. Our application will have index.ts. In this, I want to use the product component. So we have to just import it. So import, what to import from /library. From library components, we have to import the product component. In that, what is the class to import? We have to import the class called product component. Now how to access the class and use it? Simple. let tv is equal to new product component. We are creating an object for the class. Through tv we can print the details. That's it. Now your application is very clean. Your application will contain only the information about the class that you have to use. So this is how your Angular works. This is how your Angular applications are built. This is how your Angular will use library. Every library is provided in this way for Angular. We create libraries, we use existing libraries, and any library provided by Angular is used in the same way. We have to import, we have to create an instance, and we can use. Now it is ready. Now you have to just compile. Which one to compile? You can just compile index.js. Now many times this question is asked, like, when I just compile index.js, how it will compile all the other dependencies here? Actually, you should know this point very well. So generally, module systems use DI mechanism. They use DI mechanism. DI is dependency injection. They use dependency injection mechanism. Right? Dependency injection mechanism. They use dependency injection mechanism. Dependency injection, you will learn in Angular in so many occasions. In various occasions, you will learn dependency injection. Many people who don't have proper knowledge on programming, they think that dependency injection is a separate concept. Many people generally ask, sir, will you teach dependency injection? With that itself, we can understand that he don't know anything about programming. With that question itself, we can get a clarity that he don't know about dependency injection. Then why he is asking this dependency injection? Because somebody asked him, right? That means this is a very general common thing that every OOP language uses dependency injection. What do you think? Dependency injection is a special concept? No, dependency injection is a simple design pattern which is used in every object-oriented programming. Every object-oriented programming in every aspect uses dependency injection. Only the point is you are not manually doing it. But in Angular, you will come across so many times manually configuring the injections. So dependency injection is actually, DI is a design pattern. Dependency injection is a design pattern that specifies how an object get holds of its dependencies. How an object get holds of its dependencies. I will explain with different examples once we start working with Angular. We will discuss about that. That means it is a design pattern that specifies how the object get holds of its dependency. That means when you create an object for class, this it is using dependency injection. When you create an object for class, how the members of class are accessible to object? When you create an object for class, how the members of class are accessible to object? Dependency injection is working. Actually, dependency injection DI uses two major components. Actually, DI uses two major components. One is provider, another one is injector. We have a provider and a injector. What is responsibility is provider locates the dependencies and loads into memory. That means whatever dependencies are required, it is located by provider and it loads those dependencies into memory. After loading that, injector is responsible for injecting the dependencies. It is responsible for injecting those dependencies into any component. That means entire dependency injection works with two major components. One is provider, another one injector. Provider is responsible for locating the dependencies and after locating, loading them into memory. And those dependencies are injected into your application by using an injector. So every module system is using a provider and an injector in the background. So that means when you create an object for a class, automatically provider comes to picture and it will load all the class members into memory. And from that you can inject and you can use them. Everywhere it is there. You will practically see in different occasions creating these providers and injectors. So here dependency injection is working for this. You see now I am not doing anything extra. See, let's run our application now. How to run the application? Open this app index.js location because this is our app. So open that location. You can open in terminal. I am opening in command prompt. And here I am using simply tsc index.ts. We are transcompiling index.ts, but index.ts is not alone. It is linked with a lot of repositories. That means index.ts, you can see index.ts is using this component. Right click and go to definition. This component is extending template. Right click and go to definition. This template is using contracts. Right click and go to definition. It is this contract. A lengthy hierarchy is there. All are dependencies. These are dependencies. How it is taking to the definition? Because it is tracking the dependencies. Now, actually, in order to successfully compile your module system, all these TS files must have a JS file. That means your contracts, you see here, your components, right? Components, contracts, templates, all are having only TS file. That means for every TS file, we need to generate a JS file. Na? Obviously, for every TS file, we have to generate a JS file, but I am not doing that. What I am just doing is I am compiling only index. Then you can see when I compile index.ts, it is compiled successfully. You can see for every file, a JS is generated. How come? How it knows that these need to be converted into JS? Because these are all the dependencies. Who is tracking these dependencies? Module system. A module system is using dependency injection mechanism. By using the dependency injection mechanism, whatever you import, it is located by provider. Provider is going to locate all the repositories that you import. Whatever you imported, they are located by provider. After locating them, it will transcompile them because they are dependent. Our application is dependent on them. That means it will compile all the dependencies. If any one dependency is missing, it will not work. So it is using all the dependencies. Okay, now let's just run this. You don't need to touch other files in the library. Just run this node index.js and it is working fine. This is module system. This is how libraries are built for real time. That means all contracts at one place, all templates at one place, all components at one place. We can inject the components in our application and we can use them. So this is a very lengthy hierarchy, but this is how generally the real world applications are built. And in your Angular, every day you have to use this. Every day, every example uses module system. It depends on modules, importing, configuring, right? So here, this is the example. What we have done in this example. First point, what I have done here is, so I create a new folder. So by name library, we created a folder by name library. In that, add folders into library. So what are the folders? We have contracts. So we have templates and we have components. These are the library folders. What we do in contracts, go to contracts and add a new file. And this file is product contract.ts. In product contract.ts, this is the contract we designed. This is the interface we created. That is the contract we created. Next point, so for next point we have to go to, right? So we have to go to templates and add a new file. This is product template.ts. In the product template, we have to import those contracts and use them. This is the template. We have to import the contracts and use them. Next, so we have to go to components and add a new file. And this is product component.ts. In product component.ts, we have to import the template and extend it. After that, so we have to we have to add a new folder called app. In this new folder, add a new file that is index.ts. This index.ts will use your component. And it can handle. You can design anything, you can use anything. For example, see here, let's do it little more complex actually. Suppose in the components, I'm adding another file. And this is employee. Let's come from contracts. Let's go to the contracts and I am adding a new file, employee contract.ts. In employee contract, we are creating an interface. And this interface is employee contract. And as per the contract, it will have first name. It is a string. We have last name. That is also a string. And we have some designation. Designation is also a string. And we have a print, which is a method. What type? Void. Now this is not accessible outside. We have to mark it as export. Mark as export. We have an employee contract. Okay. Let's go to templates and add a new template, that is employee template dot ts. In this employee template, we have to import that contract. So that means we have to import what to import employee contract from contracts employee. So after that, we have to create export abstract class and the class name. So class name, we configured the class name as employee template. That is the class. This employee template implements employee contract. According to that, it should define public first name string, and it should define last name, that is also string, and it should define designation, that is also string, and it have a print method which is implemented later. That means we have to define, so abstract print, and it is implemented later. Now this template need to be extended in components. We are creating a new file. What is it? Employee component.ts. So in this we have to import. What to import? Employee template. We have to import employee template, and here we need to define another simple, so component, that means export default. I am using class. What is the class name? Employee component class. This extends whom? Employee template. It extends employee template according to that first name. So we are just giving first name is equal to some Raj, some name, and we have last name is equal to some Kumar, and we have designation is equal to some manager, like this, and we have a print method, so which will print all the details. Console.log, some details I am printing here. That means first name, last name, we can print the details. So we have this dot first name, and this dot last name, and this dot designation. We are printing all this. Now I want to use this also in my app. Let's go to app index.ts. Here already we are using product component. We can import which component? So we have to import employee. So okay, this is default now. We have to use employee component from where? From the library. In the components we have an employee component. Now we need to create an object. let emp is equal to new employee component. Through emp we can print the details. That means different types of libraries are used in your app. And here we will compile and run this. So tsc, so that is index.ts, and node index.js. It is working. So that employee details also working. So a library is designed in such a way that you can inject and use in any component. This is very important for Angular like technologies when you are learning. This is called module system. This is a module system. Similar to module system, more higher than module system, we have a concept called namespace. So more than module system, you have namespace system. That means higher than module system. JavaScript stops at modules, but TypeScript is more than module. It have namespace. Now what is namespace system and how this namespace works in TypeScript? This is not in JavaScript. Namespace is in TypeScript. JavaScript have this module system. Same what I have shown you today, that generally JavaScript people also know. Importing, using the libraries, that is a common concept, right? But namespace is higher than module. Now, what is namespace? How it manages the modules? Namespace is a collection of modules. Namespace is a collection of modules. How it manages, that we will see. That we'll see in next session. Tomorrow we will do that. Today we learned a very big concept, modules. And tomorrow we will see more advanced namespaces, generics, enums, and all this. Okay. So people who missed out yesterday, I created a new classroom now. You joined, everyone. I will send you the new classroom link. This is your new classroom link actually. You have to join this classroom link. This is the new classroom code. People who joined today, once you can join here. This is the new classroom link, okay? That is the new classroom link. This is the new classroom code. So all your classroom notes will be here, right? So yesterday already I uploaded so much notes, documents I uploaded, you go through them. All the JavaScript basics, people who don't know, for them, I uploaded all the references, you go through them. Then tomorrow we will see what is namespace, how to work with it, okay? Right.